Hi, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Thank you for joining today's webinar on customizing your Agent Studio website. My name is Mickey Taylor, and I'm the founder and CEO of Taylor & Company Travel. And I also write monthly articles for Agent at Home and Vacation Agent magazines. So if you don't currently receive those publications monthly in the mail, in live printed hard copy, you definitely should go after this webinar and sign up to get those. Anytime you can get a free publication that provides really useful information for your business, it's a great idea to make sure you get those. So I'm going to type in here, it's Agent at Home and Vacation Agent magazines. So if you Google those, they'll pop up. So make sure you are taking advantage of that. During the webinar, if you have any questions, please go ahead and type them in the chat. Debbie says, I'm just seeing your computer screen currently. Correct. Yes. It just should say Zoom, and your meeting should start in a few seconds. So if that's what you see, then we're all good. During the webinar, if you have any questions, please just go ahead and type them in this chat box, just like Debbie did. I am still under the weather, so my voice is very scratchy, and I'll probably get a coughing fit or two during the webinar, so I do apologize ahead of time for that. But let's go ahead and jump right in and start talking about, and I will demonstrate some tips and some ways that you can customize your website. So all the websites come with specific information or tools, okay? Destinations. Every website within Agent Studio comes with all of these pages that are across the top here. Now, this is my starter demo. So the only difference between like the starter and my personal website is on the Elite platform or the Elite plan. So you can't change any of these words. Like if you wanted cruises to be out to sea or something like that, you can't change what this navigational tab says, but you can choose what you want to show and hide. Okay, so what I mean by that is, let's jump into the control panel by signing in. And once we're in the control panel, if we go to, let's see, if it's site configuration or it's site customization, actually. Under site customization, we will see navigation. Actually, I stand corrected. So in the starter, I was wrong. In the starter, you can't change these at all. Like this has to remain the same. Now, if I was in the professional, let me see if I can find my professional demo, if I can remember what it is. Taylor Company, nope. There, it might be this one. It might be this one. So let me jump into the control panel of this one as well, because I've had some questions emailed to me by some members that have previously been on my customization webinars, and they were asking about this. So I wanted to make sure I touched upon it just a little bit. And this is, Okay, here, let me see. Maybe I was just in the wrong tab. I never change mine. So, okay, so for in pages, you look, there is no site navigation here in the starter. But when I jump over here to my professional demo, I see manage top navigation. Okay, so while I can't change, I can take these and drag them over. Homepage, hotels, promotions. I just want to make sure that I'm sharing. I think this is actually the elite plan. Let me find one more time, find the professional. Nope. And I might not be able to. Okay, pro site. Okay, finally. Sorry about that. I usually use the same couple sites for my demos, so I haven't played in this one much. Okay, so I do stand corrected. My apologies on that. I did think that you could choose what you wanted to hide and not hide in the professional version. So I do stand corrected. We can't change any of these. They have to stay as they are, but as you can see, we can add pages underneath as subpages. So your site, we can change it up and make it include whatever your specialty niches are, or those destinations that you love to sell, even if you don't have the elite plan. So we can definitely still make your website your own. And we're going to start by taking a simple PDF document, which could be, you know, a fact sheet for a hotel or resort, and turn it into a web page. So let's start by going to create new page. And give it a page name. So let's do, I'm going to choose Coco Privé because that is the brochure that I'm going to pull up. And since this is a hotel, we'll stick it under the hotel page. Okay, and okay. Now, if this was your actual page on your website, you would want to come down and make sure that you filled in all of your SEO information as well before you actually finish with this page. But for the sake of the webinar, we're not going to fill any of that in, but I always like to point it out and make sure that everybody is aware and not forget to fill in the SEO information. Okay, the next step is to upload the PDF document. And to do that, we want to go to the link with the green plus, and then we're going to click on upload. When we do that, we're going to click on choose file, and we're going to go out to wherever you have your documents saved. And I'm going to go in here and choose this PDF for Coco Privé. And then this next step is really crucial. You have to make sure you don't forget to click send it to the server, because this is what is going to save this PDF onto the server, which also houses your Agent Studio website. Now, once we click Send to Server, it defaulted back to the link information and it input a URL. Once we say OK, it pastes that URL into the body of this page. Now, the only thing that we need to get is your actual website domain. And we do that, you could either type it in or you can come up here, which I always do, it's easier. Come up to the control, not the control panel, your browser, and highlight everything up to the first slash. Okay, so basically highlight the web address that you use on your business cards for your website. Once you copy that, we're going to paste it right in front of the image, the link that was already pasted in the body of the website. And then we're going to copy this entire link and then delete it. Okay, any questions so far from anyone? Okay, once we copy the link and then delete it, we go up and on the icon that looks like a globe and click on iframe. Then the cursor automatically is in the URL. Donna, if you have a question, I can't, just go ahead and type it in either the chat box or the Q&A section right here. The URL that we just copied, we're going to paste that into the URL box. And then we can put in a width, and this you'll probably have to play around with depending on how you have your website set up. And the same thing with the height. Enable the scroll bars. And if you want to show a frame border around your PDF document, you can check off that box as well. And then we're going to say OK. Now, Michelle has a question. Is this being recorded for future reference? Yes, it will be. And I will show you at the end of it. I'll show you at the end of the webinar where you can find the recordings. James says, I get invalid extension when I try PDF. James, when you got that, did you go in and make sure that you uploaded it into, you went to the link, did all the steps? Make sure that the PDF, you can actually open it in Adobe before you try to upload it. Sometimes it's the PDF could get corrupt and it won't work. Let's see, it's when I try to upload. So make sure that, like I said, go in and make sure that you can open up the PDF and that it does actually work. If it's corrupted for any reason, it won't upload into, let me close this. It won't work to upload and become a web page. Okay, so once we have done that, you can see that in the middle, this just looks like an outline box, and in the middle it says iframe. Move this just a bit. Okay, so you want to make sure that the page is centered, otherwise it's going to be, it won't look as nice on your web page. Opens fine. do me a favor and try to do it with a different PDF once, just to make sure. Debbie asks, will there be someone we can call for help if we run into real problems for those of us that are a little slower? Yes, you can always, you can call into support, or you can put in a support ticket. And you can do that from within your control panel. Let me jump into my control panel and show you. From your control panel, you can go to the Help Center, and this is where you can put in a support ticket and request help, or you can call support. And if they're also, you can live chat if you're on, if they're on their live chat, or you can also email directly to support@agentstudio.com. But I always suggest putting in a support ticket, because you will get a response quicker that way than just specifically emailing them. Because when you put in a support ticket, it works from a queue, and then they go back and look at their emails. So I always advise to put in a support ticket. You just tried 2. Okay, James, I'll walk through this again, and we'll make sure that we're actually following the steps, which I'm sure you are, but if you tried 2 different PDFs, there's something that's just a little off. Like one of the steps are missing, just maybe you're doing something out of order. So I'll walk back through it when we finish this one, and then we can go step by step and make sure and figure out exactly where the issue is. Lillian says, do you have an actual training on this? Lillian, I'm not exactly sure what you mean by actual training. This is the webinar is the actual training. So if you have any questions about any of the steps, please go ahead and ask. Or if you want to elaborate and explain to me a little bit more what you mean by actual training, I will gladly answer that, but I'm not really sure what you mean. I was using image rather than link. Oh, okay. So yeah, you need to use the link, and then you should be good to go. Perfect. Great detective work. Okay, now that we're back here, and we have centered the PDF or the iframe, we are going to come up and we're going to save the page. Now we put that under hotels. So if we go back to the hotel tab, we see Coco Privé. So if I click on that, it should give me the fact sheet. And it does. So as we scroll down, this is what and this one's a little odd because this PDF document, they have everything going a lot of different ways. So that is one thing that you may wish to consider when you're uploading documents. But it gives you a complete layout of Coco Privé and everything that your clients could expect. And okay, so I'm going to slide back up. If you do not want to have, most of us wouldn't want to just have this PDF hanging out there somewhere on a page. We would want to link this document to maybe an image of the hotel or the resort. In this case, this is a complete island. So if we look, I'm going to show you, whoops, let's go to this one. So we can do something like this, which we can create a page where we link the PDF, the page that we just created, to an image like this. So if I click Coco Privé, and this was really wide, I didn't change it. This isn't just, so this is what we're going to create. Whoops. Okay, so we're going to create this page, and I'm going to go back into my control panel, and we have a question. Let's see. Debbie said, well, that's great, thank you. So far, I think I'm getting it, but just anticipating that I will mess something up. Don't worry, I did too. I had to actually have Sherry do a screen share with me because she was talking me through it over the phone and I was not getting it at all. It wasn't working. So I definitely understand that. And you will also have the replay to go back and look at, and you can, play a few seconds of it, do a step, and then finish it out. So that will help you as well. Okay, so to set up the page that I just showed you, we're going to come back into the control panel and click Create New Page. Now we'll make this be the main page, what I like to call the landing page, and we'll also call this the Maldives. And make the URL the same. We're going to put it under hotels. You can put it under whichever tab you would like to put it under. I'm just putting it under the hotels and make this Maldives. Okay, so to easily create the page that I just showed you, I would go into, and I'm using multiple websites just so that it's easier for me to not have to jump in and out of creating the page. So this is the destination search that is on all of our websites. So you can come in here, pull up Maldives, and I will open this page and just copy maybe the first paragraph or two, however much information you want to include at the beginning. You can include a lot of it if you like. So let's just take maybe the first 3 paragraphs. So I'm just going to copy this. Then when I come back into the web page that we're setting up, I'm going to click in the body and paste that. Now, black and white, kind of bland. We want to spruce it up a little bit. So you can come in here and click on the A, which is for the text, and we can select a color. You can make it bold, italicized. You can also change how it's the paragraph is formatted. You can change the font. Okay, so whichever. Now I'm going to show you how to, if the options do not go perfectly with the branding of your website, I'm going to show you next how you can change everything so that it is cohesive with your website branding. But by doing this and selecting a few of these options before we go into the actual code, it will make this so much easier. So, color isn't quite right. Let's go in and click on source. Now, what you see now is the actual HTML code. So if we go through here, we can see I made the font, the Comic Sans MS, but if I want to change my mind and make it, let's see, Arial. I think that's 1. And the strong stands for bold. So if I come out here and look, you see it changed the font. Now if I highlight this, it's bold. I'm going to unclick the bold and go back into the source. And now you see the strong is completely gone. Now the color, here's the color code. If you have a specific color palette that you use on your website, you can come in here and type the actual 6 digits for the color. And then when we come back out, it's changed the color. Okay, so it's definitely easier to start it out here where all we have to do is just click a few buttons, but then you can customize it a little further in the code and it makes it easier to do that. I'm going to change this back a little bit because that's a little hard to read. Okay, so there's the beginning. You can also put a heading. Let's put a heading up here, Maldives. Make that bold. And if we go into the back again, we can see there wasn't a color. So me not knowing code, I don't really exactly know where to fit the color in here. So if I come back out here, highlight the word, and then pick another color, now you can see where it input the color. So all I have to do is come in here and change it. Okay. Let me make sure nobody asked. Okay, good. Okay, so the next part I'm going to use the table. And this works just like a table that you would insert into like a Word document or a PowerPoint. So it works exactly the same way, and it just helps keep all the images the same size in line. Okay, it's easier to work with. So we're going to do, let's do 3 and 3, 3 rows and 3 columns. You can always insert rows and insert columns after you set up the table. So once we do that and we click OK, it will have inserted the table. So we can go in, and now we're going to insert those images that we saw on the previous sample page. So now, James, here's where when you want to insert an image, we're going to use the image icon. Okay, and we're going to do the same steps. We can upload. If we have a new image that we want to upload, we are going to, I need to find something. And once we've selected the image, we have to make sure we click Send it to Server. And then once it's uploaded, it's being contrary today. Come on, system. There we go, finally. So once it has been uploaded to the server, it will go back and default to the image info. Now, you can see it defaults to the actual size of the image, and this image is pretty big. Okay, so it'd be a whole web page in itself. So to change the height and the width, we can leave the system automatically adjust the height. Or if we want to make it a certain size, we can unclick the lock or open the lock, and then we can change this. Maybe we want it 300 by 250. And then once we have that set, if we click OK, it will adjust the image size, and it has inserted it into our table. And we will go ahead and repeat that 3 times so that we can have 3 images across on our web page. And I'm not really sure what any of these images are. I'm just grabbing some for the sake of the webinar. Now I want to make them the same size so that the web page looks cohesive. And we did 300 by 250. And you can see that they're the same. And then I'm going to upload the third image. And okay. And again, adjust the size and say okay. Perfect. So now we have our 3 images. Underneath here, we can put Coco Privé, ABC Resort. Okay, now I didn't center this one, but with my cursor there, if I click the center icon up here, which all of this should look pretty familiar. A lot of these icons we see in our Word documents and in Microsoft Office when we are adjusting our documents. So those should all be pretty familiar to you. And Paradise. Okay, so now what we want to do is we're going to save this page and just take a look at it. You see, here's the document that we originally created, and then we have the page for the Maldives. Okay, we want to make sure that we're centering the table. So what I do, I save it after I make a few adjustments and then come out and look at it. So we want to center this table and remove this bottom row. So let's go back into the control panel. And go back to the pages. And now when we go down to hotels and click on the Maldives, Rick, go ahead and just type your question in either the Q&A or into the chat box. Okay, so let's click on the table and we're going to go in here for alignment and we're going to click center and then say okay. And now our table, whoops, did not work the way it was supposed to. Okay, let me click in here, table. Okay, so of course it's not going to work the way I want it to. Let me okay, I'm going to go back to that, but to delete this last row, if you right click and go to row, we're going to delete rows. Okay, and the row's gone. Let's see. Patricia said, I have the same issue attempting to put in a table with it. Normally, it doesn't do that. I'm going to try one other little trick, but if it doesn't work, I'm going to highlight the whole thing. If it doesn't work, I am apt to say that there's a little bug in there right now, but let's see if this should fix it. I'm almost afraid to see. Yeah, not, interesting. I'm going to have to inquire with Shay as to why it won't center across the page. by doing that, because it's supposed to. We should be able to just highlight any of this, and then, you know, this doesn't control the table, how the table's set up. We should be able to do it right here. So yeah, I think that there's a little glitch or something that's causing us to not be able to center that, because normally that's how you would do it. Or you can also do it at the beginning when you first set up the table, and then it will automatically center. I have done it, centered a table after I've put information into it, so I'm not really sure why it isn't working today. But for the sake of the webinar, we'll just assume that it is. And now if we wanted to, like I said, we're going to take the, let's save this, and then we're going to use the page that we originally created, this Coco Privé page. We're going to link that to one of the images here. So I'm going to come in to the control panel, and I'm going to pull up that initial page. I'm going to copy right here where it says preview URL. I'm going to copy this. Okay, and then just go back into the control panel. Okay, now because this is going to be a subpage, we don't need to see this page. We don't want it to be a visible standalone page. So we're going to come over here and click on the eye icon. And now it will not be visible. Let me see, we had a question. Okay, Rick said, when you went back to the control panel, you did have an edit option. Why did you not use that? Rick, are you talking about, whoops, if I'm in here, this edit? If this is the one that you were referring to, I used to use this all the time. But after Agent Studio went to the secure HTTPS, it stopped working. But let's try it here within, this is a templated this site is built off of a template. So let's try it. My site is the Elite, on the Elite platform, and it's not based on a template. So it stopped working for whatever reason. Dev has it on their list to look at, but it's a very low priority because I can go back in and still do what I need to do within the control panel. So it's on the radar, but not something that they're going to fix right away or look into it right away. So if I click edit here, it does put me into edit mode. And if I click the image, you'll see that it brings up the same options. So I want to make this image a link. So all I have to do is click the same link button and just paste the URL that I just copied for the initial page that we created and say OK. And now if I scroll back up to the top, I can click Publish Changes. Now, when I would do this before, it would look like it worked, but then once I went and totally went to a different page and closed out the browser and came back, it wouldn't work. So we'll see if it does. So good sign. When we click that, now we've linked this document for Coco Privé Private Island. So your clients can come in here, scroll down, read, and look at everything about Coco Privé. Okay, so it's pretty cool how we can take documents from the suppliers. And before you upload this document, take this document and open it in Adobe, and at the back of it, going to get to the last page. So on the last page, remove this cocoprivé.com, put in your own website, put your logo on the back, your contact information on the last page. That way, if they download this document, print it out, share it with a friend, it's going to have your contact information on here and not the contact information for the resort. Okay, so now I'm going to go to another page and go back to that page and see if it worked. It might yeah, it's still going to work. So if your site is not completely customized on the Elite plan, this edit option will still work. Okay, and let's make this Coco Privé, all the titles. Let's make the titles a little bit nicer to look at. Okay, make them a little bold. Okay. We also, if you wanted to make also the word Coco Privé a hyperlink, you might want this to go to a trip inquiry form. So if we went, let me grab a link from my page. I come over here and grab a trip inquiry form. I'm going to copy the link from my browser and come back in here. And my daughter's dog is in my office, so he's now whining. So if you hear that, that's what that noise is. And we can make all of these link to the call to action be for a trip inquiry. Super easy. Okay, and let's go back up and publish the changes. Okay, so now obviously the form that you would link to would be on your website, but your clients can fill this out if they're interested in the trip. So in that very short amount of time, it has about 40 minutes, even with me answering questions and explaining as I go. That's how quickly we were able to make a customized page on our website. Like I said, this is one of a limitless possibilities that you can create, but it's an easy one. So I like to share that with everyone. This could be for, like I said, destinations. You could use it for resorts. It could be specialty travel. So if you go to my site, hey, shh, shh. Hold on a second. Sorry, I'm going to let him out of my office. Here, come on up. So he doesn't bark. Sorry about that. Normally he's pretty good. One of the perks of working at home, get to hang out with the four-legged furry guys all day. Specialty travel, and all of these link out to something. So these pages I have created and just put examples of just different options where someone might want to go on an anniversary trip. These all link right now into the destination information that's currently on our website. Someone just raised their hand. If you would just type in your question, then I can answer it. Debbie asked, will the steps be the same for the Elite and Pro sites? Yes, everything is absolutely the same. The only difference on the Elite site is you can see, like I'm able to change my navigational tabs and change the words and change the location and everything. Let me see. Oh, Lillian asked, you have a beautiful site. Aw, thank you. It's it's like my third child. Once my youngest daughter went off to college, this kind of took over my motherly attention. I'm constantly working on it. It's a labor of love, but I enjoy it, and never thought I would go from being an accountant to learning HTML code and even knowing what any of that ever was. So these are just some of the ideas. Now I can take, and I plan on expanding these to where it doesn't just go to, right now, like I said, they're linked to the destination. Actually, let me see what that is linked to. Interesting. That's an error. Let's see where Bora Bora goes. Okay, that's correct. So I definitely need to write myself a note that I have to update that link for the Maldives, or for Belize. But these will eventually go into another page that will open up and be just like this, and there will be resort options, things to do, so that there will be additional information. So that's what I do in my spare time, build out the pages, and just constantly updating my site and changing it around and adding more information. Knowledge is king. So I want all my clients, when they come in here, I want them to be able to find all the information that they could possibly want without having to go somewhere else. Because we all know if they go somewhere else, they can come across another booking site. So if I caught their attention, I'd like to keep it. So that's why I have built out my site and, you know, have added as much information and continue to add information into and expanding on each of the pages. Patty. Hi, Patty. How are you? Yes, this will, tomorrow, 24 hours after the webinar ends, you will receive a follow-up email, and it will give you the link to the replay, which now's the perfect time for me to show you where they are. Agent Studio uploads them after the webinar. I convert the recording and send it to Shay, and he uploads it to the Agent Studio YouTube page. And the email that you get tomorrow will direct you to this same page, but I always like to show it
be a player
to everyone, because if you come into the main page, you aren't going to see any of the current webinars, but you have to click on the videos tab and then you'll see everything. Okay, Shay has a couple more to upload. Last, it looks like Wednesday and Thursdays webinars, but I will make a note of that to ask him about those as well. But tomorrow it will be the webinar that is here, should be the webinar replay from the day before. You're welcome. Patty said, very good, thanks. Thanks for another great webinar. You're welcome. I appreciate that. And if you have, one thing I asked on a couple of my other customization webinars, I find inspiration for different website layouts by looking at other sites or other templates. So I use WordPress a lot to get inspiration. So if you just go to WordPress templates, if you come across and you're looking in here at any of their templates that you would like to, you know, one of these templates in here, if you would like to make a page layout like any of these, just send me the link and I will play around with it. And the next time I do a customization webinar, or it can be anywhere you find a template or a page layout that you like. This is just where I go to get some different ideas. You know, you can click on these, it'll give you a lot of different ideas on how to set up your page. So send it to me. My email is included in your registration for the webinar, and I'll play around with it and use it in my next webinar. Patty, I have a new sub-agent, very new to the business. Can she find basic webinars for new agents in the same area? Yes. If you go back to, let me jump back into this page. If you scroll down, there are, for the past, probably, I think we started adding these. Mine start here, 8 months, 6 months, 2 months. So the idea was originally we switched to Webinar Ninja. And if any of you were on any of my webinars know how terrible that platform was. It automatically sent the replay directly to you, but when they didn't work out so well, we decided to just start uploading every webinar here. So you can get them. I also have some recordings, links to some of the previous recordings through Webinar Ninja that I could send you. So if you aren't finding something here, which I think pretty much every topic is covered at least once, if not 2 or 3 times. But if there is something that you don't see, let me know. I might have another link for it that I can email to you. Any other questions? We have a few minutes left. Let me go up, and I wanted to show everyone, I forget what I was playing. The last time I did a webinar was, I used one of the demos, and we did a wedding for the wedding niche. Oh, it might be Beach Vibe. Yeah. So this was a sample, somewhat the same, but this was just like a page to make for beach wedding inspiration. And then we did link this out to a wedding brochure for AM Resorts. Now, this AnyFlip, basically all this is the digital brochure or PDF for AM Resorts weddings, and I turned it into a digital magazine just to make it a little nicer to look through. You can hear it sounds like it's flipping the page. But we also could have just uploaded a link like we did the very first page we created. It could have gone, and we could have set that up. And then these can also link out to different brochures, or they can also just be used as just inspiration. So this is another way, still set up through the table to make it easy, but a different layout. Large image at the top, and it can be, for the weddings, you could have a main page set up. I'm going to skip back. So say this is our main page. This could be different wedding settings, wedding inspiration, beaches, mountains, winter, Christmas, you know, and then they could link out to pages. Well, I lost it. They could link out, each link out to a page set up like this that gives inspiration for that type of wedding. Now, once I would take this one step further though, and at the bottom of this put inquire or let's start planning, something to that effect that links to your contact form, so that there's the call to action is for them to get in touch with you and ask about your services or to book your services. So just another idea of how you can customize your web page. Patricia says, how do I get brochures onto my site? Patricia, you can do it the same exact way that all the brochures, you can set them up as their own PDF, like we did in the beginning, and then you can either link them to an image like this. The image could also be just a screenshot of the first page of that image. So if I click on this and go into this, I can do a screenshot of this. And then this could be the image that it's linked to. So if I come back into, let me see, if I wanted to replace this image, or actually, let me just do, really quick, let me just do a different page for you. We can create a new page, AM Resort Weddings. Let's see. Just stick it under destinations. Give it the same title. Okay. Now, this is just a really quick example, but I can upload that image. Now, you can play around with the size of it, but let's just see. So if you are making this a page by itself, you're going to want it to be fairly large. And then let's save this. Now you can do one of two things. If you already have the PDF, the brochures, they'll send them to you, or you can download them from all of the, I shouldn't say all, most of the suppliers' websites. And you can do something like I did with AnyFlip. And I can grab this link, or, whoops. And I have the link, so I can come in here to this AM Resorts page. And link to this. And when I come here, it will open up into this. This is actually a really bad link. I don't know why I grabbed this, because this is one of the worst ones. Usually it will open up into just a page by itself. And this, AnyFlip is super cheap. It's like $10 a month. I think I pay for this. And I personally think it's worth it. I like, let me see where they are. I have so many different pages in here. Oh, that was it. That's where I wanted to go. So you can also just take the brochure. I don't know where I have it downloaded, somewhere on my computer, but I'll just quickly download it now and save it. Desktop. Actually, I think this is actually Palace. We're mixing a little bit, but for the sake of the webinar, it's fine. We can do the same thing with that PDF. We can create a new page. And we only have 20 characters allowed in the page name, so you'll have to play around with that a little bit and make it something that makes sense. What I just typed doesn't make that much sense, but Swords wedding brochure. And now we'll go through the same steps that we did in the beginning. We will upload the PDF, send it to the server. Now, once we say okay, it put the link in there. We're going to grab the agency URL, which again is everything up to the first slash, paste that in front of the link that was already there and copy the entire thing, then delete it. We're going to click on the globe icon or the iframe and paste that entire link in the first box labeled URL. We're going to play with the width and height a little bit. Enable the scroll bar and add a frame. And then center this. And now, just to save a step, I'm going to copy this web address and save the page. And then I'm going to go back into, here's the weddings page. I'm going to hide the AM Resorts brochure page that I just created because that's now going to be linked to this page and we don't need to see it by itself. So I clicked on the image again. I'm going to go back in and it had a link in there. I'm going to delete that out and I'm going to paste in the link to the brochure that I just uploaded. Now if we go back here and click on this page, okay, and then you have you have the entire brochure right here. Okay, so that's another way that you can link the brochures. And the brochures all are from a PDF. So once you have the PDF, you can just upload them in one of those two ways to your website. Debbie, thank you. This was great, very inspirational. You're welcome, Debbie. I'm glad you were able to get some good information out of today's webinar. Victoria asks, are we able to center our logo on the pro site? No, this logo will always stay up here in the left-hand side. Now, if you're on the Elite, you can change where you put your logo. All right, well, I've kept you a little bit longer. Just I wanted to share that additional idea with you, so gave you a little bit more inspiration. And you see it was already like 4:03 when I started that. Obviously I've done it enough, so I'm quick at doing it, but it didn't take me that long to create that page. So it's super easy to customize your site and just showcase what you do. So that way when your clients or visitors come to your website, they know exactly what type of travel you do. And if you do weddings, you have information on there about them as well. All right. Well, thank you everyone for coming. Let me just make sure yeah. If you have any questions after the webinar, you can either email me or you can reach out to support by putting in a support ticket. They are all able to assist and answer your questions as well. So I hope you found some great information today and can use that to customize your own website. And I'm hoping that I'll see you again on another one of my webinars. Have a great evening. Thanks for joining.